to the tech industry. It might have crossed the minds of some of you. And, we were talking a little bit off air and you're saying that, yeah, actually it's a huge trend. More and more people are thinking of these mid-career switches specifically to the tech industry. So you are going to tell us how to navigate our way through that journey, through that transition as well. But can we start off first? Can you share with us a little bit about your role as a senior career coach and what is General Assembly all about?
Yeah, great. Thank you for having me today. So, my name is Stefanie. I'm a career coach in General Assembly. So, General Assembly is a tech education company. We offer different short courses and boot camps. So, these are your long-term courses that last for about 3 to 6 months, training people who are planning to pivot their way out of their previous jobs into technology. So my role as a career coach in General Assembly is really to empower these people who are planning that career pivot to help them in their job search. So we talk about things like personal branding, helping them out in their technical interviews, and even down to negotiating their offers later on. So goal setting is really important for us, for all of our career shifters, and that is the reason why we offer career coach support to those students.
I gotta say, things like personal branding, even goals, is something that all of us should really have a think about for ourselves, but not many of us do. So I can see why we need your help, Stefanie. And what would you say are some of the misconceptions that people generally have about the tech industry and the roles in the tech industry?
I want to ask you first.
Okay.
What is your idea of the word tech or the tech industry?
Something that I'm not very good at. Besides switching the computer on and off, that's it.
Yeah.
I guess that's my perspective. I feel like it's something that requires a very specialized education, training, and it's just a lot of gadgetry kind of is too simple a word, but just, the algorithms and all that I really don't think I could muster. Am I right?
Yes, so you are right. There is a portion in tech that talks about that.
Okay.
But again, we're talking about the misconceptions here. So let's talk about first the word technology.
Okay.
Or technology as a field or an industry. So right now people think that it's just your Google, Meta, TikTok.
Hey, those things are important.
All in tech industry, right? But it's a very vast ecosystem.
True.
There are technology roles prevalent in industries like oil and gas industry. We never think of that, right? Or financial services, etc. So it's prevalent in all the industries. And maybe let's define another term that we will be talking a lot today, which is digital transformation. So a lot of these industries that you may not know that are in tech, digital transformation is now happening because there is now a strong demand for companies to use technology as their catalyst for growth or change, right?
Okay,
so
okay.
Now with things like mundane tasks, there are automation that is needed, and that is where also tech falls into place.
I see. So I guess a common misconception that is happening is that we tend to overgeneralize what tech is all about. It's more than just Google. And from what you're telling me here, there is a tech role in pretty much every company. Doesn't matter which industry that company is in. Tech roles are prevalent, and I guess that's why, the industry itself is growing. Tech professionals, the number of which are growing as well. So you have got some great tips on how to navigate all of this. We're going to take the discussion over to Facebook Live. Come and join us, facebook.com/1FM913. And remember, we want to hear your questions. You might be someone wanting to make that pivotal change, that career switch as well. And send us your questions, drop us your comments. You can either do it by WhatsApp, 88550 913, or comment on our Facebook Live. It might just win you a 3-month supply of this incredible Hokkaido coffee. It's the Suzuki Hokkaido coffee that is worth $100, and it is the oldest coffee roastery in Singapore, founded by a master in the art of coffee roasting all the way from Japan. You get to enjoy it. So come and join us now. Facebook.com/1FM913.
Good times.
Greatest hits.
The music I like.
1FM 91.3.
Hey everyone, a very good morning to you and welcome to our discussion. It is our Brightside Chats with Stefanie Padilla, the Senior Career Coach from General Assembly. They are a tech education company and you've got all these great causes, boot camps even, which sounds very intense, might I add, to help those who want to come into the tech industry and start a brand new profession as well. So my next question is this, what are the latest hiring trends that you are noticing in the tech industry, and what does it mean for those who want to go into a mid-career switch into this industry?
Yeah, so we just talked about digital transformation.
Yes.
Right. So a lot of companies are now getting into this because now they realize that technology will help them automate and better a lot of things, a lot of processes.
For sure.
So, right now, according to like an annual report by Skills Future, digital skills will be in demand in the next 2 years.
Wow.
So to those looking out for a career change in tech, or for those who are already in technology, then this is a good sign that you are in the right place, right? So right now, some common roles that people can start with. So for example, if we are talking about people who do not want to embrace or do coding, which is the more technical side of tech.
But it's not the be-all, end-all about tech. That's what you want to point out, right?
It
okay,
is not.
I thought that way. Oh, no, yeah.
So, for example, if you are a person who has a lot of sales background and people skills, you might want to look into an area in tech called technical sales, wherein you will be speaking and engaging with clients who are using the tech, and you're there to help them navigate around that new technology. However, if you are a person who embraces the coding side of things or the more technical side of tech, for example, if you're coming from like an engineering background who likes logical reasoning already, who likes problem solving, then things like software engineering, data science are things that you can also look into if you are planning to make that pivot.
I'm curious to know this because hearing from what you say, it's just so easy for that overgeneralization to happen about the roles and the jobs in tech, in the tech industry. Do you find that for your clients, those who, turn to you for coaching as they make that transition, do a lot of them suddenly go like, oh, they think they know they wanted this particular role, but then they're finding out from you that actually there's so much more to it, there's more to consider, and they're like, go a completely different path, go for a completely different role. Does that happen quite a bit?
Yeah, it does. So that's why the main thing that people have to do when considering this big change is that they need to expose themselves to what they think that technology is. They need to probably like the best and money-free way to do it is to go on YouTube or listen to podcasts about that certain industry and really familiarize yourself with it. And then another thing is talk to people in the industry. They're the ones who are the best people to tell you the ins and outs of this thing that you're getting into.
That's really a good tip that you're sharing with us here. Keep an open mind, but of course, do your homework, right? And go to a legit source. So podcasts are great, hearing from the other, the industry players as well, hearing from them, and talk to those who are in the career itself to get an idea of what you want to do, whether you should make that switch. What would you say is it even feasible? Mid-career already, it's like, wow, everybody's like, are you sure you want to change? And it could even be a completely new industry for these individuals. Is it even feasible? Let's be honest here.
Yeah, hats off to those who are mid-career changers. It is really a daunting task. Like you're saying bye to your past life and now you're saying hello to a new one.
That's right. That's right.
But it's never too late to learn. Education is always there as long as you have the right mindset. You also have the right support system along the way. Then you can get there eventually. So we see a demand from people realizing that they actually need to make that change or to educate themselves with more technologies because they want to keep up with the times. They might see themselves, oh no, I'm falling behind. There's a lot of things right now that I'm doing for 5-6 hours in my day-to-day tasks.
Yeah.
But I realized that there's this thing called automation with Python or SQL that I can use to make these tasks and limit them only to a few seconds or just a few hours rather than spending all the time doing it. So again, technology can be your partner for improving your day-to-day life.
So you're saying that, really keep an open mind, even if you don't go into this industry. I think for all of us, we need to start embracing technology for all that it is and all that it can offer into our lives. I think that's a really, really good point. We should bring that discussion back on air in just a bit. But I want to know this. Let's talk a little bit about, so you're saying that it is feasible. Keep an open mind, go to the right people to get advice and also guidance on how to do so. So what are some things one should consider before even making that switch?
Great question. So first is they need to familiarize themselves first with what skills they currently have. This is a sickness of a lot of career switchers.
Okay.
They tend to feel like, I need to get all the new technical skills. And then when it comes to presenting themselves in front of an employer, they forget about their past. They forget about just talking about the last few years in their career, which you have picked up a lot of soft skills from there and a lot of professional skills, right? So if you are thinking of probably not making that big change or pivot, think about ways now that, again, what is the value add of technology in my current career? And what should I embrace now? What new technologies should I learn for me to improve my day-to-day in this current role that I'm in? However, if you are in the other side, wherein you are probably looking to make a complete change, complete shift, there are at least 3 steps that you need to do.
Okay.
First is to acknowledge your strengths and introduce yourself to the technology that you're getting into.
Okay.
As I mentioned, first is check free resources. You have YouTube. You have your podcasts to listen.
No excuse that you don't have info, right?
Everything is there.
That's true. That's true.
And go to introductory classes. So in General Assembly, we offer free introductory classes wherein it's the actual industry professional walking you through about that.
Oh, wow. Okay, you need to tell me more about that. We're going to head back on air and we'll talk about those 3 main points once again. So come and join us, everyone, on 1FM 91.3. Hope you enjoyed that festive number from Michael Bublé. That was Winter Wonderland here on the Brightside. And once again, we are joined in the studio with the senior career coach over at General Assembly, a tech education company, Stefanie Padilla. And we had a great chat because I asked you, what are some things that one should consider before making that switch? And you said there's a lot of things to consider. And a common mistake by a lot of your clients, especially those making that, completely switch over to a new industry, the tech industry, is that they totally forget about their past experiences. And you're saying that, no, you have a wealth of things to offer with your past experiences, your soft skills and all that. And you mentioned about 3 things that everyone should take note of. Can you share that again with us?
All right. So first, again, is to acknowledge your strengths and introduce yourself to the technology that you are getting into. So as we've mentioned, you can just Google, you have Facebook, you have your podcasts to take all of these free introductions. And then we at General Assembly, we also do introductory classes for free that is moderated by an actual industry professional.
Well, that's fantastic.
So
to hear from the industry player, him or herself, is really such a great exposure there. Okay.
And next step is to understand yourself and the tech industry better.
How?
So I call this your test run.
Okay.
You're gonna get to this point. Like, this is gonna be your next life, right? So you need to really test it out if it's for you.
Yeah, fair.
So you may consider looking internally first. Probably if in your current company, there might already be resources that will help you train and learn these new technical skills and can even help you pivot into that next step, right? And also, you can consider going into different networking events. So industry networking events. So networking is really the key here. Trying to gather as much information as you can from people in the industry or people you already know. Ask them about what they love about their job, or maybe what they don't love about their job, so you know what's in it for you.
But I think this is consistently with what you're trying to put across here, that it's important for one to really, really find out, and it's always best to hear from those who are in it, in the thick of it, right? The tech professionals themselves. So I like how that point is coming up again. I'm wondering if you have anything to add, because we've got a great question from one of our listeners. One Alun says, what's the transition requirement to tech if you are coming from, say, a non-tech role? I think a little bit of it has been addressed with the 3 points that you brought, but anything else that we should note?
So again, we need to define what that non-tech role is. So for this individual asking the question, maybe point out the best skills that you already can provide your next employer. What are your top skill sets?
Right.
And once you figure those out, try to check roles that may correspond to that in the tech field. So for example, I've had some students or graduates who were primary school teachers, for example.
Okay.
They are not very technical, but the skills that they have and that they're really good at is, let's say, to simplify technical jargon to non-technical stakeholders.
Okay.
Which are their students.
You're right. Yeah. Okay.
So one of the paths that this teacher did was to go into data science or a data analyst role.
Okay.
So what they do in data analytics, for example, is they need to look at all the data of a company, simplify that, create a visual for their non-technical stakeholders to see, and then introduce, or let's say just share with their non-technical stakeholders on how all of these data make sense for their business to grow. So they make recommendations for the business based on the data.
I bet she was mind blown to think that, she had something to bring to the table, like a brand new table, all clear, but she had a lot to bring to the table, and that she was more than competent, right, to take on that new role. That is amazing. I think you're really changing, I think not just for someone who wants to do a career switch into the tech industry, which I'm now very intrigued by from what you shared, but I think just in life in general, how you're approaching, all these situations. Really great discussion. We're going to carry on and head on back to Facebook Live. Come and join us then as well. We've got a couple more questions from our listeners as well. So keep it right here on The Brightside.
Ladies and gentlemen,
here they are.
Good times.
Turn it up.
Hey, welcome back once again. The discussion carries on. Our Brightside chat with Stefanie Padilla, senior career coach from General Assembly, a tech education company. They got boot camps. How long are these boot camps? Is it very intense? But it's like a mind boot camp, right? Not a boot camp.
It's a brain boot camp.
It's a brain
and a skills boot camp.
I like that. Brain boot. You know what? That's a product you got going there. Brain boot camp. I like that. So Alun has asked that question, right? What is the transition requirement to tech from a current non-tech role? And just to summarize what you shared with us on air, you said that it's really about recognizing who you are, what your skills are. Always know that you have something to offer, even if you work from a completely different industry. There's always a lot of relevant experience and skills that can be brought into a tech role. I love that. We also hear from Shireen, and she says, good morning, Levy and Stefanie. She's in her 60s, has no programming knowledge at all, only know how to turn on the computer. Same like me. She uses, Word, Excel, and she's been thinking of learning how to do coding. Will it be easy? Will it be feasible? How can General Assembly help?
Yeah, so a lot of people are always thinking about getting into coding, but again, you need to bear in mind that coding is learning an entirely different language.
Okay.
There are no age barriers to learning code.
That's a good thing.
But your commitment to it will be the test.
So, like a new language, right? It's going to take time. It's going to be a lot of practice. Okay.
Yes. So the best thing to do is, again, there are free resources to learn. Introduce yourself. What is really coding? What do I need to do in coding?
It almost feels like people wanted to pay you for the knowledge. You're like, no, there's free stuff online.
Go
keep
to the
your
free
money
ones first.
You're like, keep your money.
Discover it first and then go to us after.
Google is our friend, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so go and find out more about that. And so she's asking, is it easy? Is it feasible? What do you think?
Again, it's a steep learning curve. So depending on how fast you learn, it can be easy or it can be hard for some individuals.
Right.
So again, the best and most practical advice for her is to try coding as you are introducing yourself to it. So already try get your hands dirty with the learning.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Really find out if this is something that you like, and then once you know that, I'm enjoying this and it's actually easy for me to learn all of these things, and I want to make that switch or do one step up, then that is the time really that you can formalize that learning into a training or a course or a boot camp, similar to what General Assembly can offer.
I like how you're very practical in your approach about it. I mean, you're keeping it real. Sometimes we have that want, that desire, or even like maybe just that slight interest, or but when you go into it, you realize it's not really for you, and you're saying like that's okay. But you got to make that part of the process of that discovery, that journey, right?
Yes.
Find out if you're really that interested, if you think you are. So how, Shireen, do you think you're going to start taking up coding? Remember, there's no age barrier to picking up coding, but it will be a commitment. Go and try it. I mean, there are some fun apps. Maybe men more for kids, but I think that's a great place to start. To get the idea of coding. Because I've tried my son's apps for coding; they're actually quite fun. And then my son stopped learning because I took over the app. We have this question lined up. It is such a hot topic. Generates quite a bit of nervousness. Okay, so a lot of people are talking about this fear, genuine fear about how artificial intelligence, AI, the fear that it will replace us, jobs. What are your thoughts on this?
This is a really hot topic.
It is, right?
We hear it in the news all the time.
Yes,
and now we have access to ChatGPT. But honestly, with that access to ChatGPT, I think it just really saves a lot of time on different administrative tasks that people might do.
Yep.
So again, we're going back to the first term that we talked about today, which is digital transformation.
Yeah, share more about that.
As I mentioned, a lot of companies use technology as a partner for change and for growth. And AI can be one of those, but do know that behind AI, it's always people creating it and helping it grow.
So true.
Right? So there's still a demand for those people to help AI become successful. So I don't think that AI can replace humans. They cannot replace human capabilities like empathy or decision making.
Yes. What makes us human at our core? Yeah, that's a very, very good point.
And I hear this a lot from hiring managers themselves, especially those who are really open to hiring career shifters. They see that in making a decision to hire someone, they like people who are very eager and enthusiastic to learn.
Okay.
Because the growth mindset is already there, and they know that when that individual gets into their team, they have all of that passion to bring into the table as well, rather than just their technical skills.
And speaking of the passion, the drive is already what sets us apart from AI, right? So we have that growth mindset. So not to despair, not to despair. What you're suggesting here is really embrace technology. It can really be your partner. It can really help you do things more efficiently. I remember you mentioning that. I was like, oh yeah, it's really, we have to change our mindset towards this. I mean, would you say it's more of like the unknown is what's making us fearful, because we don't really know everything there is. We're not the people who designed all this AI, right? So the unknown kind of makes us fearful, but you're saying, no, we got to change that mindset, embrace it, and let the AI empower us to become just more better at what we do.
Yeah.
Okay. I will use my ChatGPT later.
I mean, the time that you save can be also used in other different efficient ways, right?
Like to upgrade your skills, or even where we are. I think a lot of people are just, the light bulb is being switched on by what you're sharing here today. Now, I do want to ask this: are there any tips for those on how best to go about making that switch to a tech career? Could be a midlife thing. It could be they're fresh out of, I don't know. Yeah, maybe the switch. Maybe they're just out of college even. Let's expand it a little bit more. What do you have to say for that?
Yeah, so the age group of career shifters really can vary. Like in my
what have you seen?
years of experience in not just in General Assembly but also in my recruitment career.
Yep.
A lot of people again look at the switch as a way to empower themselves even more and to make themselves more marketable. So look at that. Think about that for yourself. What are things that will really benefit me and will help me grow as a professional? Even if it's not a technical skill, let's say, what are the soft skills also that you need to learn in order to succeed? So again, a lot of the factors that you need to consider when making this switch is really to familiarize yourself with that topic. So again, listening to a lot of introductory courses, participating in networking events, industry events, speaking with people in the industry who can tell you a bit more about what's happening in that certain industry.
So don't quit your current job until you've done all that and more.
Yeah, and actually your companies can also help you with that pivot.
Hey, you're right. There could be a tech role. There could be a tech role in their company, especially if you love the current industry you're in or even the current company that you're in. Yalla, don't put in your resignation letter just yet, So we're going to jump back on air just to wrap everything up. I mean, we're going to hear from Stefanie real quickly about, key takeaways for any one of you considering making a mid-career switch, especially to the tech industry. So come and join us on that. And remember, thank you so much for all your questions and also your comments. We really enjoy them, to keep the discussion just going both ways. And it might just win you a 3-month supply of Suzuki Hokkaido coffee that is worth $100. This is all thanks to Suzuki Coffee. Come and join us on 1FM 91.3. We're enjoying this one from P. Diddy with I'll Be Missing You here on the Brightside. And we're about to wrap up this really great chat, our Brightside chat this morning with Senior Career Coach from General Assembly, Stefanie Padilla. We're talking about how, if you are interested to make that mid-career switch into the tech industry. And I love all the points that you're bringing across here. Number one, and it seems to be a real key point, there's a lot of free resources. Please go and find out, hear from those already in this industry before you even want to make that mid-career switch. Now, I want you to help us to just give us maybe 1, 2, 3 takeaways about those who wish to once again maybe make that mid-career switch to the tech industry. But before that, could you maybe shed some light on what tech companies, or those looking to hire for tech roles in a company, what do you think they look for? Yeah.
Great question. So for companies who are looking to hire technical people or people for their tech teams, again, as I mentioned earlier, it's always gonna boil down to the person's soft skills and also their mindset, their passions and motivators. Everyone, if you look at maybe 5 resumes on the table, you will see that they may all have the same technical skills. However, if you talk to each one of them, they will present themselves differently. They will all have different communication skills. They may present that they are people who are good at managing different stakeholders, or they're people who are able to get on their feet in times of crisis. So it will really depend on those soft skills that
to make you
hiring
stand
managers
out.
are looking for. So make sure that when you get to that interview, you're also able to tell them that. You're able to tell them your story about your pivot, not just because tech is always there and it's you and I need to be there. It has to be coming from you, and it has to come with a passion point.
That's a good point. That's a really good point. Would you say that is one of the key takeaways you have for those who are thinking of making that transition for career-wise?
Yeah.
Any other key points?
Like, look into yourself first. Next is, again, familiarize yourself with that industry or area that you are looking into.
Right?
So get your hands dirty. If you want to learn coding, go ahead, try your hands at coding first, and then once you are convinced, you're happy with the learning curve and you want to make that switch, you can go to formalized training institutions, like General Assembly, to go through a boot camp that can really help you and hold your hand and make you experience it through real life projects.
To up your experience in the technical side of things, which is also important. Any other takeaways?
And I want to share to the Singaporeans and Singapore PRs listening in. We are also in partnership with IMDA for their Tech Immersion and Placement Program. So there are a lot of subsidized boot camps out there already that they can look into. So
that is
they
a good
can
thing
learn
to point out.
While saving money as
well. Ding, ding. I think everyone's attention is like, hey. Thank you so much, Stefanie, for all that you shared with us. I think the best thing for everyone to do, even to find out about, the collaboration of IMDA, is to head on over to General Assembly's website. Can you share those details with us? So
our website is actually generalassemb.ly. So that's GENERALASSEMB.ly.
Spelling past. But Stefanie, it's been such a great discussion. I mean, I feel like even the misconception and the generalization that I had about tech roles, the tech industry itself, about tech, have been squashed by you. You switched on the light bulb for me. Thank you so much for joining us here on The Brightside.
Thank you.
The Brightside.
Good time. Greatest hit. 1FM 91.3.